MySQL string functions allow us to manipulate textual data, strings. We can transform text to uppercase or lowercase, we can find the length of the data in the field, we can return parts of a string and things like that. The syntax of string functions is basically the same as we've already seen for the aggregate functions. Select function name and then in parentheses the column name from table name. Depending on what the function is doing, we may need to specify more information as parameters. So if I tell you that the functions to transform text to upper and lower case are uCase and LCase respectively, then you should be able to put these to use straight away. Don't forget that you can't use the price field, you have to change to a text field. I'm going to use the first name and the last name columns from the customers table. Select uCase last name from customers. Select LCase first name from customers. Upper is a synonym for uCase. So select upper last name from customers is exactly the same as uCase. And lower is exactly the same as LCase. Char length, char underscore length, gives us the length of a string in characters. Length returns the length of a string not in characters but in bytes. This will give the same result as char length if we have ASCII data, but it will be larger if we're using multi-byte encoding, for instance Chinese or Japanese characters, Arabic, or another language written with a non-ASCII script. For some functions, we need to provide more information. An example is when we want to return just part of a text field. We need to specify how many characters we want to return. We have two functions for this, the left and the right functions. Select left, last name, 3 from customers. Selects the first 3 characters from the left of a field. And select right, first name, 3 from customers, selects the last 3 characters of a field. There are also 3 functions which are all exact equivalents of each other: mid, substring, and substr, that's S-U-B-S-T-R. These do a similar job to left and right, but are more flexible in that they allow you to specify a point to start from in the field. With these you specify the column, the starting point where 1 is the first character in the field, and optionally the number of characters you want to return from that point on, the length to return. So to return the first 5 characters from the last name field, you would use select mid, last name 1, that's the starting point, so we start from the left, 5, that's the length, so it's the first 5 characters, from customers. And there we are, there's the first 5 characters of each of the last names. And substring and substr do exactly the same thing with exactly the same syntax. Select substring last name 1, 5 from customers. Select substr last name 1, 5 from customers. All 3 are exactly the same. If you omit the length parameter, it will start at the position you specify and return the whole of the rest of the field up to the end. So substring last name 3 from customers starts at the 3rd letter, so that's the PO from possum missing, then the 3rd letter, and then up to the end. To return the end of a string using these functions, you specify a minus number as the starting point. -3 means start 3 characters from the end. Select substring last name, -3 from customers, returns the last 3 characters. -5 means start 5 characters from the end. And as we haven't specified a length, it will return all the characters from that starting point up to the end of the field. If we specify a length with a minus starting point, it will return just that many characters after the starting point. So select mid, last name, -53 from customers, starts at the 5th character from the end and returns only 3 characters from that point. There's a variation on this syntax. You can also use from for syntax. Select mid last name from 1 for 5 from customers. Select from the first character in the field for 5 characters length. And select substring last name from 1 for 5 from customers, or select substr last name from 1 for 5 from customers. Are all equivalent. Left and right are easier to use, but obviously you can't specify the starting point with those. Trim removes white spaces from before and after a field. Let's put in some spaces after one of the names to demonstrate it. And then run select trim last name from customers, and the spaces are removed. There are also L-trim and R-trim, which remove spaces from the left and the right of a field. The trim functions are often useful to remove unnecessary spaces from data. We can join 2 fields together with the concatenation function, concat. Select concat first name, last name from customers, and this will return the first name and the last name joined up. We can insert a space between them by adding that into the comma-separated list and enclosing it in quote marks. Select concat first name, space in quote marks, last name from customers. That's not an exhaustive list of string functions in MySQL, but these are some of the most useful ones. We don't want to drag through every function there is, or we'll never finish the course. More important than my going through every single one of them is that you see how they work and understand the syntax, and then once you're familiar with these, you'll find it easy to learn more of them, as they generally follow the same syntax. You'll find a list of string functions at the link on the screen. Let's tidy up the data by removing those spaces that we put in. So that's those spaces gone now. And in the next lesson, we'll look at how to give names to the results returned by select queries.